Mahiya naman kayo sa inyong kapwa Pilipino.
Wala nga kayong isang proof na confidential funds yan.
Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat. Ako po si Christian Esguera and welcome po sa ating Facts First episode. Ngayong araw po ng, ano ba ngayon, Martes, na wala na ako, no? Today is April 28, 2026. Okay. Marami po tayong pag-uusapan ngayong araw na ito, no? Pero disclosure lang po, this is a recorded episode kung napapansin niyo po. Wala po tayo sa ating regular studio. Okay? Pag-uusapan po natin kasi marami po lumabas tungkol po dito sa bank transactions sa mag-asawang Duterte, si Sara at si Attorney Mans Carpio. And gusto ko pong busisiin pa po kung ano ba yung mga ini-indicate ng mga lumabas doon po sa pinakahuling pagdinig ng House Committee on Justice patungkol po rito sa bank deposits, specifically bank transactions ni Sara Duterte at Attorney Mans Carpio. So, minabuti po nating kausapin ngayong araw na ito. Siya po yung dating commissioner ng Bureau of Internal Revenue. We would like to welcome again to our program si Attorney Kim Inares. Magandang gabi po, magandang araw. Thank you for joining us again dito po sa Facts First.
Magandang araw po sa inyo, sa mga
Hello?
nakikinig.
Hindi kayo masyado madinig. Ayan, lakasan ko lang. Ayan, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Ayan. Yeah, I can hear you. Volume ko yung problema. Pasensya na, naka-cellphone lang po tayo. Okay, sige. Tanungin ko muna kayo dito, no? Kasi doon sa huling pagdinig ng House Committee on Justice, nag-submit ng kopya ng mga ITR nitong mag-asawang Duterte, itong Bureau of Internal Revenue, pero nakasil po sila sa isang box at nag-warning yung BIR Commissioner na hindi siya pwedeng buksan. Okay? Ano po ba yung patakaran dito?
Ang general rule sa Section 270, lahat na information tungkol sa taxes confidential, no? At hindi pwedeng ibigay ng nino man or mag-divulge ng information. No? Kung nag-divulge ka na unauthorized, meron yan fine and imprisonment. No? Tapos may exception ho yan sa Section 71. Some of the first paragraph said, if you get permission from the President of the Philippines. Tapos on second paragraph yata, if you, di ba, the BIRs come up with the list of top taxpayer, that's one of the exception. Tapos kung may request ang foreign government for exchange of information, yun ho yung exception. Tapos meron ho sa section 6 na pwedeng ibigay sa Kongreso kung in aid of legislation at kung nasa executive session. Yan ho yung rule na sa loob ng National Internal Revenue Code.
Okay. Dun sa two specific exceptions po, dun sa in aid of legislation at saka executive session, ang ginagawa kasi po ngayon na impeachment proceeding, in particular impeachment hearing sa level po ng House Committee on Justice, meron po, nagpo-fall po ba yun to under any of those exceptions that you mentioned?
No, it does not fall into the exception, no, because this is an impeachment proceeding. No? You're not going to come up with any law, no? And it's not even in executive session because it's even televised, diba? So it does not fall in the exception under Section 6.
So, example, kasi hindi pa nagde-decide yung House Committee on Justice and I think sa susunod na pagdinig nila sa April 29, doon nila pagdidesisyonan ito. Pero one of the options po, pag ginawa nila yung pagbubukas itong mga ITR documents in an executive session during the House impeachment hearing, would that be workable?
No, because it's still not in aid of legislation. It's an impeachment proceeding. So there's two conditions that's required, and you did not fulfill one of the conditions.
So dito, may paraan po ba para mabusisi ng mga miyembro ng House Committee on Justice yung isinumite nitong Bureau of Internal Revenue?
Kung bibigyan ho sila ng kung ang presidente magbibigay ng permiso na pwedeng isubmit ho ng commissioner ng BIR sa Kongreso, then that's the only time that they can open it and use it.
So basically, kailangan ng authorization ng Bureau of Internal Revenue from President Marcos authorizing the
Yeah.
BIR to submit.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Eh
ganun
di,
lang yung kasimple.
madali lang pala. Ba't pa nila pagdidebatihan? Yun lang pala kailangan. Oo.
Yes, ganun lang yung kasimple.
So, written authorization from the President of the Philippines. Okay. Pero yung ano po, ang gusto ko itanong, Commissioner, no, the fact na sinabit na nila yung mga dokumentong hinihingi ng House Committee on Justice, pero nakaseal, that act in itself, what do you think of that?
I think that's already a violation of the law because you already brought it there, di ba? And it's not consistent with your argument, no, na you cannot submit it. Di ba? You gave it to them already. Isn't that already submitting to them? And in fact, parang you're avoiding your own responsibility by shifting it to another person. Parang sinasabi mo, di ba? Kunyari, may kinuha kang tao, di ba? Bawal kang pumatay ng tao. Hindi ikaw pumatay, pero sinabi mo, okay, intrega ko na sa iyo yan, ikaw na bahala. Di ba? Parang you're tempting them to kill the person. So when that person get killed, di ba kasama ka rin doon?
O sige po,
I think
puntahan ko ng...
that's an extreme analogy, no? Pero yun.
Definitely magkalayo naman yung example yan. Pero ano lang naman, by way of, tawag dito, analogy. Okay. Anyway, puntahan po natin itong ano, no, yung hindi pagdeklara ni Vice President ng kanyang mga cash on hand at saka cash in bank for specific number of years in her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth. Uubra ba yung dahilan na sinabi ng abogado niya na hindi dineklara yan, wala lang sa line items na binabanggit na yon, pero nakapaloob siya doon sa others? Ano pong tingin niyo ron?
First, no, yung SALN is a snapshot of a certain period of time, which is December 31 of that year, or when you assume office, on the day you assume office, or on the day you leave office. No? So it's a snapshot of what your asset is. Pwede kung sa pwede, pero hindi ka paniwala. So, kasi yun pag-prepare mo ng SALN is you use the commonly accepted principle of preparing a financial statement. No? And it's very clear what cash is, what cash in bank is. Diba? So, dapat nun, kung talagang cash yan at cash in bank, dapat nilagay nyo dun sa cash and cash in bank. Ngayon, sa others, kung nandun yan sa others, kailangan yun, okay, explanation mo yan, others. Pero yung amount, di ba, magtutugma pa rin kung kunyari may paper trail yan, magtutugma pa rin siya, no?
Pero dun po, no, ano ba yung rhyme and reason behind a separate item for declaring cash on hand and in bank sa SALN?
When you're required to put cash, because that's a normal asset everyone has, no? Maskin ikaw, kung ikaw ay ordinaryong tao, normally meron kang cash. Diba? Tapos yung cash in bank, normally rin meron kang savings account. Lalo na kung nasa gobyerno ka, kasi yung payroll mo nasa bangko eh. Hindi naman yan binibigay as cash, no? Tina-transfer yan sa ATM mo. So, ang presumption, meron kang bank account. So, dapat nandun yan sa cash in bank. And presumption rin nun, meron kang pera na cash at any given time, di ba? Kasi pagbuksan mo yung wallet mo, may cash yan eh. Diba? So, normally, may amount yan. Parang very, very rare or difficult to understand na walang cash in bank ang isang tao at walang cash in hand. Lalo na, kung yari, ikaw may negosyo, no? Like for example, si Attorney Carpio, syempre, abogado yan, meron yan natatanggap ng mga fee, retainer fee, syempre meron ho siyang, saan ba yan papasok, di ba? So, dapat na sa cash in bank, kasi binabayaran ka ng cheque, masking bayaran ka ng cash, di ba? Bank transfer yan. So normally, dapat meron ho yan. No? Pero like I said, it's up to them to explain bakit ba ganun at bakit nyo nilagay sa others.
Kung totoong nilagay sa others, no? Pero sa karanasan ninyo, no, ano yung mga nakikita yung possibility kung bakit hindi idineklara during this specific number of years when in fact before that, until 2018, naka-declare separately yung cash on hand at saka in bank?
Alam nyo, wala akong maisip na dahilan, no? Pero malay ko kung ano ba ho talaga, kung baka may ibang tao may naisip na dahilan, no? Pero as of now, I cannot think of any reason why there's nothing in cash and cash in bank and why they place it in others. Unless there was an error of whoever was preparing that SALN, no? And then we now come to the Supreme Court decision that said if there's an error, you can amend it, di ba? Kasi may Supreme Court decision na pwede mong i-amend yung SALN mo, no? Which I don't really agree, no? Pero yan yung jurisprudence ngayon. Pwede mong i-correct ang SALN mo kung nagkamali ka.
Pero wala bang condition yung error sa SALN? Kunwari, dapat ba error in good faith? Paano kung meron talagang willful action or intention not to disclose certain items?
And it's for the accuser because you have to prove willfulness. Mahirap i-prove ang willfulness kasi kailangan ipakita mo talagang may intent, no? So then it's a matter of proof kung willful ba yung violation na yan o hindi. So pupunta na
Dito naman,
tayo.
oo. Ito naman, sige, paano bang ibabangga itong mga hindi niya idineklara na cash on hand at saka in bank doon sa kanyang mga SALN for specific number of years, doon sa sinabi ng AMLAC na merong 6.7 billion worth of bank transactions yung pinagsama, no? Yung mag-asawa Sara Duterte at saka Man Scarpio.
Well, ang ano dyan is kung yan may natanggap kang cash, di ba? Di pupunta yan sa asset mo, no? Normally, either yung pagtanggap mo ng cash is dahil may income ka. So, dapat nandun yan sa income tax return mo, nagbayad ka ng income. O kaya, yung cash na tanggap mo is in replacement of another asset. So, may mababawas na asset, malilipat ngayon sa cash. Ngayon, kung binayaran mo, kung ginastos mo yung cash, diba, may replacement ulit po yan. No? So, kunyari, bumili ka ng kotse, di dapat mababawas yan sa cash at makikita mo may isang kotse lulutang dun sa asset mo, sa SALN. Kunyari, ginamit mo yung pangbayad ng utang, mababawasan ngayon yung cash mo, mababawasan rin yung isang liability account mo. So, dapat ganun ho yung balance nun SALN. Kung pagpasok dahil may income ka na nakuha o kaya may replacement asset. Kung lumabas, meron ka rin either replacement asset o may binawasan kang liability. Ngayon, pwede rin na meron kang ginastos, kumain kayo, nag-travel kayo, nag-hotel kayo, pero may amount lang ho yan na acceptable, no? Kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng kumain ng 1 billion peso na pagkain, di ba? Kung kinain mo 1 billion, di para ka ng ay Clusada. So, yan yung kailangan yung evaluation ho nung SALN na yan. Saka, the other thing is, during that time, wala pa tayong pinapasa na AFASA law, di ba? Ngayon, meron tayong pinasang AFASA law na hindi mo pwedeng paggamit yung account mo for other people. Di ba? Kung may account ka, parang pinapass through mo lang sa account mo, tapos binibigay mo sa ibang tao. No? Dahil hindi naman sa'yo yan. Ngayon, may batas tayo, pag pinagamit mo yung account mo, at nalaman na it's for fraudulent or criminal purpose, kasama ka, may liability ka rin. No? Pero this was passed in 2024 yata or 2023. Before that, wala pa ho yung batas na yan.
Pero ito, no, sige, simplihan natin kasi ang kine-claim ng mga taga-suporta ng Vice President maliraw or exaggerated yung pagtingin doon sa bank transactions dahil pinagsama itong outflow at saka inflow doon sa mga bank accounts ng mag-asawa. Tapos ang ginamit na example ng kanyang abogado, si Attorney Michael Poa, kunwari 1,000 dineposit, tapos winidraw. Pag sinuma yon sa bank transactions, 2,000. Pero walang naiwan doon sa sa bank accounts. That's very, very simplistic no? Pero sa inyo po ba, ano ba yung tama at dapat na pagtingin dito sa bank transactions?
Okay, kung yari ang presumption nyo is okay, pumasok ng 1,000, di ba? Para lumabas yung sabi ko nga, para lumabas yung 1,000, either, kasi kung 1,000, madali explain yan, kumain sila sa restaurant. No? Pero sabihin natin 1 billion, pumasok 1 billion. Para lumabas yan sa 1 billion, siguro dapat may binayaran ka. Kung may binayaran kang 1 billion, siguro naman either pambayad ng utang mo, di dapat nun sa liability mo bababa ng 1 billion. No? O kaya may binili kang bahay, so nawala yung 1 billion sa cash, pero marireplace yan ng real property. So dapat yun yung nakikita, hindi basta-basta yun lang yan nawawala. No? So, kunyari, 6 points, let us assume na sinabi niya na totoo na inaggregate ng AMLA, tinotal niya yung input, output, no? Yung inflow and outflow. So, siguro yung 6.7 divided by 2. So, 4.4 billion yan. So, di ba, pag dinivide mo by 2, 3.35 billion. So, dapat meron ka pa rin 3.35 billion na na-account for, no, na replacement asset. No? So, or na-replace na lessen na liability. No? So, yun yung problema. No? Kailan i-explain nila. Hindi pwede, kung meron silang valid explanation, saan nyo ginastos yung 3 point something na yan, you have to evaluate it whether that explanation is valid or not.
Pero dito kasi ang laki ng halagang pinag-uusapan po, no? Tama kayo, hindi siya 1,000 It's 6.7 billion pesos worth of bank transactions. Kung kayo mag-iimbestiga bilang isang anti-corruption crusader as well, no? Ano yung mga titingnan ninyo at paano nyo siya ibabangga doon sa mga SAL and declaration?
First, dahil may AMLA, no? Tapos merong siyang report kung saan pumupunta yan mga cash na yan. I will probably I will follow where it came from. Kasi syempre meron yan saan nanggaling at saan ho yan pumunta. No? Then the other thing is I will ask for information about all the asset of the government employee and his spouse. I-check ko against ni-report nila sa SALN kung lumabas ba lahat o hindi. Kung hindi, di may problema pa rin ho sila. So, yun.
Dun sa kasi sa level po ng House Committee on Justice, ang i-determine lang nila ay probable cause to impeach the Vice President. Dito sa specific allegation na ito, no? Ilumabas sa 6.7 billion worth of bank transactions, pag ibinangga doon sa mga SALN declaration or non-declaration of certain items, they think na hit yung na yon, yung threshold na yon, yung probable cause at least?
Because of the significant amount and there's no explanation that was placed forward, actually, for me, kung talagang, kasi sa totoo lang naman, this is really a political exercise naman. The proving of the guilt is really in the Senate. So, maskin ano naman gawin yata ho ni VP Sara, kung may boto na ho yung mga gustong mag-impeach, wala naman ho talaga siyang magagawa. No? So, doon na ho siya sa Senado magdidepensa sa sarili niya. Doon ho, dapat ilabas yung lahat na ebidensya. Tapos then VP Sara will have to present her own evidence. Then I think that's a proper venue. I believe that the Congress is not really the venue for presenting all these evidences. So you just need a certain threshold, and after that, you put it to vote.
Pero I mean yung ano, as far as the committee is concerned, sa tingin nyo, yung determination ng probable cause, given the 6.7 billion worth of transactions, do you think at least na-meet yung threshold na yan?
Without any explanation from VP Sara, I think it's already enough, no? What is required is only probable cause naman.
Okay. Finally, Commissioner, no? Ito kasi curious ako, dun sa nilabas ng AMLAC, doon sa pagdinig last week. Naisip ko, kung na-monitor nyo pala yan, may mga red flags kayo nakita over the years, anong ginawa nila? I think that's a valid question, di ba?
I think that has been at the back of my mind ever since the flood control scandal came up. Diba? Because you have rules, no? You cannot have transaction more than 500,000, otherwise you have to report it to the AMLA, no? And all the banks have those reports submitted. After submitting all these report, ano ba ginagawa ng AMLA, di ba? Dapat noon, if they were on their toes, hindi naman dapat lumaki yung corruption, di ba? Kasi makikita na nila bakit ganyan kalaki ang lumalabas at lumilipat, no? Tapos secondly, yung pahong land bank, which is a government bank, di ba? Dapat sila rin, I would think that there's a extra duty for people in government, di ba? Kasi may mga rules na applicable to government officials that are not applicable to ordinary people. No? So, to me, I don't know whether there's something wrong with the laws that created and at how AMLA operated, because it seems like all of these things should have been flagged earlier. Diba? And something should have been done. Kung wala kang magawa, di ba, dapat siguro dapat ni-report mo na sa ombudsman, bakit ba itong mga ito, di ba?
Yun nga. Okay. O, sige po. Former BAR Commissioner Kim Inares, maraming salamat po for joining us today, for joining us tonight dito po sa Facts First.
Thank you rin. See you.
See you po. See you. Ayan. Okay, si former BAR Commissioner Kim Inares na kasama po natin. No? So, tatapusin po muna natin itong episode na ito. Meron po tayong susunod. No? Abangan nyo po. Medyo we have a packed Facts First evening for today. Okay? Ako po si Christian Esguerra. Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat.